Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. It's another Building Wins Live. Don't you love to build wins and do it live? Anyways, this is going to be a little pre recorded version today, but we still are going to build wins. We got some guests on that you're going to really, really enjoy. I followed these folks for quite some time now, and Western States Metal Roofing. They're out in the west coast of the U.S., Phoenix, and I believe they just opened just recently in Texas. We'll talk about that. We're going to have Ray Kimball, the national sales director, and Mike Rubio, the president of Western States. And we're going to talk about everything that's involved in the metal roofing world. These guys are first class. They've got more profiles and more products and more colors than almost anybody. And I really enjoy these folks and what they do. So don't go away. We're going to be right back. Good morning, Mike and Ray. How are you?
Good.
Awesome. Appreciate you taking some time out early in the morning out on the West Coast to chat with us.
Yes, yeah, we're super excited to be here.
Well, good. Well, as I mentioned in the short intro there, man, you guys got it going out there. Your marketers, not only do you have great steel products and so much, and I want to talk about all that as we go forward, but maybe to start, Mike, because I know that you're the president of the company. Ray's as I said, is the national sales director. Your wife Stacy is the VP of sales, and you guys just do some amazing stuff. So give us what's the Western States Metal Roofing story? How did you guys get started? How long you been doing this? And then we'll roll into some of the really cool, unique things you guys do.
Well, we've been doing it for a long time here. My father originally, and he's still part of the business with his company, Western Metal Deck. We're Verco distributors. That's originally how we started off, and all through high school and everything, I was installing decking on jobs that I could actually go onto, chipping welds, doing everything from there. Opportunity about 97, 95, 96 came up for us to actually come out to Phoenix and become a Verco distributor. Either here or Las Vegas was kind of the choice that Verdi Dickey at the time was telling us, hey, we need somebody out in these markets to sell our product, because when people need smaller jobs, we don't want to have to clog up the factory, the mill. So we end up, finding Phoenix, picking out Phoenix in 97. We basically became Western States Decking at that time. And that went to probably about 2009-ish. That's when we basically became Western States Metal Roofing, because we started roll forming. First product that we started with was our panel, and then it started growing from there. But everybody kind of was seeing decking, not roofing, so that's when we switched over, and we haven't looked back since.
That's awesome. So where did you come from? And maybe I heard this and missed it, but where did you come from Phoenix?
Originally from Southern California.
Okay.
Yeah. So we've been here, we incorporated in 97, so I've been out in Arizona since about 95.
Gotcha. So in Southern California, out in the desert area, or were you closer to the city?
We're originally from Diamond Bar, which is about 30, 40 minutes from LA.
Okay.
Traffic wise could be 2 hours from LA, but it all depends. But yeah, basically that area there.
Yeah. I'm a little familiar with the Mojave. Just the reason I was asking, my oldest son, when he was in the Marine Corps many years ago now, because I'm old, he was stationed. Ray, don't laugh at that. That was not a joke.
Well, I was in the Marines too, and that was many years ago.
Oh, was you? Well, thank you for your service.
Yeah,
I appreciate
I was
it.
laughing when you said it was many years. I was thinking, many years for me too.
Yeah, he was stationed in the stumps, as he always called it, but 29 palms.
29 palms,
Yeah.
Palms,
so I remember the first time, I'm getting off subject, but I remember the first time I went out to see him. I'm thinking desert, beautiful, which a lot of it is. Yeah, 29 palms is not beautiful, right?
No, there's nothing out there. I think there's the one green section right there at the main area or whatever. So we can go out there and just do some training every once in a while.
Right. Yep. So, but anyways, yeah, that's awesome. So you moved to Phoenix and started, and now you've been roll forming for a number of years already. And as I had mentioned earlier, guys, and I cover products in the metal roofing industry and post frame building industry as a rep agency in about 10 states, 11 states, 12 states, depending on the product lines, but all Great Lakes and Northeast U.S. Have some great customers that do a lot of stuff. But wow, you guys are leaders as far as profiles and as far as colors, and I know you're kind of, I don't know if you're first in the Core 10 world, but you're certainly one of the originals in the Core 10 world. How did you start with our panel? Did you let the market drive you to all these additional colors and profiles, or did you just decide to push that onto the market yourself and hope it was there? How did that all happen? Because I find that interesting.
Well, originally when we started off, we were, roll former in a crowded market with all the big companies, and nobody really wanted to even sell to us. It was really hard to get our foot in the door to even find a mill we could get coil from. So we had to go through the secondary source, get it all going, and then from there, we were seeing, okay, how can we sell to, what product can we sell? Everybody has the same Kynar, everybody has the same S&P. What can we sell that's unique? So we kind of went down the niche road where we got the prints, where we did the Core 10 and started developing that, where we had all the standard Kynar, S&P, what everybody else wanted, but we had the niche. So we became the leader in those colors. So if somebody wanted a rusted print, they knew they could come to Western States. You want a copper print, they can come to us. So that's kind of how we built all our colors. But along with that, having 110 colors with all these different prints becomes a logistical nightmare trying to stock it all, have it all. And, Ray used to have a lot of gear when he started.
It wasn't great either.
But no, it's a logistical nightmare, but it's something that we enjoy doing because we're constantly wanting to add colors, constantly want to be on top of that bubble for whatever product everybody wants. And there's cycle with colors. It goes from right now the grays and oranges and blacks and kind of match. Those are the popular colors. 5 years ago it was a different color, and 5 years from now who knows what color it's going to be. But they're constantly changing.
Right. Yeah, I noticed that. One of the companies that I'm involved with a lot is I'm very involved in fasteners for the metal roofing industry, and it wasn't that long ago that that the evergreen or the ivy greens was like the only. I mean, that's all you needed to stock almost, right? Everything is green, and it's like overnight, nobody wants green anymore. And out in my part of the world, it's now just like you said, the grays, blacks, burnished slates, some of those colors, and like for us, green is like 8 or 9 down the list all of a sudden. It was number one not that far ago, so it is challenging. So you as you see a niche kind of niche marketers in a very big market, and I think that's pretty smart route to take. What tell me about Core 10, because I think a lot of people know what Core 10 is. A lot of people question it and how it works and why it works. Probably bigger in the mountain states and the desert states, I'm going to guess, than it is out in the Midwest and the Northeast, I guess. But how did that whole thing? Because the reason I ask is I always find Core 10 an interesting thing, because I've had a couple customers that have asked about it or used it, and I was at a trade show somewhere, national show somewhere, it might have been on MetalCon or IRE or somebody, and they come to my booth. I'm a rep, so I rep several manufacturers. I was in my fastener booth. And it's funny, as they said, we use this Core 10 stuff, and do you have a screw that we can buy that rusts? And I laughed, but I said, we spend our whole lives trying to make a screw that doesn't rust. And it was a comically funny scenario that we got. There's this customer that came up and asked about it. It was kind of comical, because it's like, no, we really are trying to avoid that. But that was my first exposure to Core 10. And so maybe Ray or Mike, whoever wants to, where did that all come from? I mean, I know the look is cool, but that's just interesting. I'd love to know the history of Core 10. How did that come about?
Core 10, we've seen like I said, another niche for a market. People wanted that rusted look, wanted something that was a little more longevity than, let's say, a bare steel product, because of the properties that Core 10 actually has. It'll actually seal itself after it's rained and rusted, and get that kind of like bark or how I say it. And it'll last a long time. As far as the screws, you always have to use anything that with Corten is a stainless steel. You can possibly have problems if you use galvanized or if it's actually touching galvanized, kind of like copper with any galvanized part. You can't, dissimilar metals, you're going to have a constant problem. But, that was a trial and error too, because we had to find a screw that would work for Corten. Didn't want to have the liability of a screw possibly rusting out. And then, we got sheets and everything falling off the roof. So we just used a stainless steel screw with a brown head painted. Once the steel rusts or blends in, it actually blends in really well. And that was kind of the trial by error too, is what screw is going to work best for that Corten product.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, I'm glad you answered that, because there's a question I had. So you got ahead of me there. So a painted brown stainless steel.
Mm-hmm.
So while we get on this, before I get a couple other things that I had in my mind, you obviously have a lot of coil. You do slitting. I think your new operation in Phoenix, you're doing a lot of slitting and recoiling. How much of your business is outside of your own roll forming operation? I mean, you must supply a lot of other roll formers, a lot of your specialty coils. Is that correct or no?
Yes, it is. Yeah, we probably about 30% of our business is coil and flats. So about 30% of our business model is made up of strictly reselling coil. And sometimes our customers, we actually sell them coil for a specific panel, but then we also provide them panels that we do specifically because we have just such a large base of panel profiles that we offer. So it's kind of a little mix. Sometimes we'll sell them coil, and then sometimes we sell them panels, and sometimes we sell them flats, and sometimes we sell them trims and accessories and things like that.
Okay.
So yeah, it's about 30%. We actually just opened up across the street a coil and flats division just across the street. So
yeah, I saw some of the posts on that. That's pretty impressive. 24 hours or less, you're slitting and shipping and.
Yep, that's what we're shooting for. Because, like I said, with all the different profiles that we have, nothing's cookie cutter. So, it's not like we could have 20-inch and 24-inch for ourselves and then 48-inch to run other panels. We're with the reveal panels and the wall panels, you have anywhere from 18, 16, 17-inch, all kinds of different coils across the board. So with our two slitting lines that we have now, we were only able to kind of keep up with our own products, and it was hard to kind of work in and get a fast lead time for our customers who wanted, let's say they just wanted a 20-inch coil, a 24-inch coil. So opportunity came up next door. Logistically, it works because our storage yard's across the street. So if we need anything, we can pull it across real easily. But like I said, that division, it's just doing slitting for customers, recoiling for customers, and flat stock. And that's all it's going to do. It's not going to be driven by any of our machines. So we could have faster, better lead times.
Gotcha.
And the 24 hours, that kind of a little misleading. Actually, if you have the order in by, I think 10 a.m., so if it's in by 10 a.m. today, it'll be able to be picked up by 2 p.m. today. So actually, like same day pickup almost. If it's in after 10 a.m., then pick it up by 10 a.m. the next day.
Wow, that's impressive. So Ray, obviously your title would indicate as National Sales Director. How far out do you ship panels? Probably tougher than coil, right? You could ship a coil, I guess. There's the freight issue, but you could pretty well ship that anywhere in the U.S. Panels probably run to length would be a little bit more of a challenge from a logistical or freight standpoint. But how far out of Phoenix do you go?
Complete U.S. I mean, we ship into Canada. We all the way over to Pennsylvania, New York, everything.
You do?
All the way
Okay.
Up yes.
Panels and coil, or both?
Yes, sir. Both. Well, it's actually the coil is actually a little bit just because it's such a price competitive market. You're trying to work in freight, like you said, just right now with the gas prices the way they are, the demand for trucks and things like that. That's where you kind of get into a little bit, but we've been really blessed with some good logistics people, and our logistical manager he really strives hard at keeping those prices down and keeps us competitive. But yeah, all over the continental U.S., up into Canada, Alaska. I mean, we get it down to Hawaii, everywhere.
Wow.
You're in Europe.
We sell into Chile. I mean, we sell everywhere. So
I like Europe. I haven't ever been to Europe, but I wouldn't mind going to Europe. So if you need a sales guy in Europe, give me a call.
Go check it out.
Everybody always volunteers for that spot.
Yeah, I'll bet. So Ray, Road Warrior Randy, that's me, buddy. So anybody that I talk to in my world, and I'm doing it right now, or will be when this is released, any of my customer base out there, the roll formers could reach out to you to buy coil or buy individual job if they don't want to if they don't want to roll it themselves, and you have a profile that that works for them. That's what I wanted to get to, and you took us there real easily. You could sell one of my customers in Maine if they want to buy.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I mean, we'd be glad to actually, and it's really interesting that even though we're in Phoenix, we have such a huge customer base all up and down the East Coast. It's always actually shocking to me to see how many customers we have from basically South Carolina all the way up through, like I said, through Maine, all of that.
Nice.
So we have a really, really large customer base up there.
Well, that's interesting because it's funny. I gave your name to a customer the other day. I was at their open house, and I don't know if they've reached out yet or not, but and just in case, I'll just not say their name, I guess. But they want to get into a couple of the more, as he called it, decorative panels, right? And I was kind of believed that you guys probably shipped anywhere, but I told him, I said I would certainly reach out. So that's awesome. I think that's a great service that you guys can provide, because I think I was going to say that, and I still think maybe I'm semi-accurate, and you'll correct me if I'm wrong, but your part of the country probably it's more prevalent for some of these colors than maybe other parts of the country. But the fact that you're shipping to Maine and New York and up and down the eastern seaboard, obviously there's a little bit more of that than I guess I would have thought, which is interesting.
Yes, sir. Like Mike said, we have such a huge, everybody has your basic commodity colors that you see. We're all
Right.
pretty, like you said, the greens and the things like that.
Yeah.
It's our niche colors is really what makes us stand out. And we have such a huge color finish base. I mean, we have 110 colors right now and growing. And then too, we have just amazing customer service. I mean, if you look at Google reviews for our company compared to many other metal roofing, metal panel companies, you'll see the difference. I mean, we really pride ourselves on that. So you put those two things, the niche colors and those reviews, and I mean, we really excel anywhere we go. And so, but yeah, if you look up in the Maine area, it's kind of funny, like you said, you'll see the same kind of color patterns selling the most up there. And then the same thing in somewhere else, you'll see where, North Carolina, we sell kind of the same colors and the same panels, over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
Like they do really, really well in certain areas.
That's awesome. Well, that's good to know. I will spread the word even more, because I really appreciate what you guys do. I've lived in this goofy industry. I say goofy with all the love that I have, but for 4+ decades. And Ray, that's because I'm old. And I use 4+ decades because it sounds not quite as old as it really is, if I was honest, which is probably could get by with the 5 word, but I don't, because have just a little bit of vanity yet. But I started when I was 16 in this goofy world, so I've been doing it forever. But I just love what you guys do, and that's why I was really wanted to make sure I got you on, because I felt everybody that watches this, whether it's live or in this case pre-recorded, but in replay, I want people to know what you guys do, and not even so much. It's a combination of. I hope it helps you guys, because I love the industry, but even more than that, I think this can bring some value to some of my people that might not know where to get this.
And then I would say on that company, if they were trying to buy Corten, that's definitely a learning curve. And one thing we found out with Corten the hard way is, whatever you run on any of your lines, be prepared to have another set of tooling, because it's very abrasive. It'll end up scratching any type of painted product you run through there. So, 1 or 2 jobs shouldn't have a problem. If you make it a mainstay, be prepared to, have a second set of tooling, one for the A606, one for the painted stuff, and that starts driving up costs that you're not necessarily prepared for.
Right. So so obviously, if they're going to do it on a regular basis where they can justify the extra rollers, that's one thing. If not, they need to look at it 1 or 2 jobs a year, or 3 or 4 or 5 jobs a year even.
Exactly.
They might better just buy the rolled panel from you and have it shipped.
Eventually, it's gonna one of your rollers, something on the mill is going to get affected, and then you're going to have a huge scratch through your material. You're going to have to put additional PVC. It just starts, snowballing from there.
Yeah, good advice. Good advice. So we've kind of talked your history and your philosophy, which I love. Let's talk about supply chain, which has been an issue. We always have to touch on that. But and maybe we even go back because I know they correlate to some degree, I suppose. We all battled the COVID-19, the pandemic, the plandemic, the lockdown. We all have our views, but regardless, how did that affect you guys? Obviously the same as everybody probably, but I'm always interested, and one of these days I'm going to be glad to stop talking about it, which is about there, because I'm ready to just move on and we'll chalk that one up to it. It was what it was. And I think we all learned a lot of things. And I think that's where I want to go more than anything else. Well, we'll go wherever you want to, but what did we learn from it, right? In running our business to be different, to be better, to adapt. What did you guys, I'm going to guess that you came out of it probably stronger and better in some ways than when you went in. I'm going to say that as a statement because I just believe that's probably true, and it'll correct me again if I'm wrong. But I'd love to hear your thoughts on how you battled through that and what you learned, and how Western States is even better now because of what you learned.
Yeah. So when COVID-19 happened, or it came down, and like you said, we had been hearing about it, things like that, but it came down and there was concern that we were going to start doing the shutdowns and the quarantining and things like that, and going to some more restrictive measures even here inside Arizona. I can't remember if we were one of the first or if we were kind of in the mix of when it really got stringent. But immediately upon it becoming a real issue here at Western States, and the concern was there, and the safety of our people, but also how do we continue to run a business? Lucky for us, Mike, Stacy, their leadership, we immediately pivoted. We got all of our internal personnel, our CSRs, our salespeople. We immediately sent them home. We were set up. Mike and Stacy kind of knew it was in the mix. We were kind of there. There was talk of it eventually happening. So we kind of, about a few weeks before that, started preparing. We started getting everybody set up to work remote at home with laptops and monitors, printers, things like that. Everybody that was in the office, and so we immediately went to a skeleton crew internally in the office. We went down from 30 people in the office down to 4 or 5 in the office, and just enough to really keep everybody inside at a distance from each other. Outside, it was a little bit more tricky because you obviously can't have people that run a roll former do that job at home. They can't work remote to run a roll former, make trim. But we put in sanitizing stations immediately, different protocols. We met with the team. We did 6 feet distancing, things like that, to keep everybody safe. We did Mike and them required masks. We had people come on site. Stacy had people coming on site testing everybody once a week. The company paid for it. So it was really nice. So we actually, I think because we adjusted so quickly, and because of the stringent measures we put in to be safe, we didn't really feel a bite as far as with COVID. I mean, we actually grew, I think, because we stayed so fully operational and we were so ahead of everybody else as far as making the adjustments and getting ready for it, that during COVID, even with the condensed staff internally and the different measures outside, we continue to grow. We've grown every year, and we continue to grow through COVID. We had no issues actually. And we did that for a good year and a half, something like that. I mean, so we were just started in the last few months bringing everybody back inside.
And we had everybody kind of sectioned off too. Everybody in the trim shop only stayed with the trim shop. This roll former stayed with that roll former. Yard people in yard, and we didn't want a lot of cross contamination in case one person had it. It's not going to knock out a whole part of the division or that whole roll forming section. Even with the offices too, we have a kind of a split up office. This side stayed with this side stayed with that side. Smoke signals over to the other side. So that way, if somebody did have it, it's not affecting the whole company in whole.
Correct. So obviously you become more virtual during that time. Everybody, you're bringing people back to the office. Is everybody back in the office now? Are you back to pretty much full
We're back, full staff, full capacity.
Okay.
Yes.
But did you learn from that anything that we can take forward? Because one of the things that, and Wes and I, you met Wes, our producer director here a few minutes. One of the things we talk about a lot is we learned, and I know I learned to become more virtual, to do things like this, to do, when we're done here, I'm going to jump onto Zoom and record with another guy on his podcast with him. I've learned to do more of these things. I've learned to do more videos. A lot of these things that I'm going to be brutally honest, I would have never done probably, because I take great pride in my hashtag, Road Warrior Randy, right? I've been the old school guy forever. The blessing out of this, if you want to call it that, which you got to look for the blessing in everything, right? Is I did learn to have more tools in my toolbox, if that makes sense, and to now use those to augment. And are you finding the same thing? Because have you always been as marketing oriented, as video oriented, as Crazy Mike in front of the coil room, or is that something you develop because of, or just as a natural seeing everybody else do it? How did Mike get to be Crazy Mike doing videos? And I know you guys do a podcast or a show of your own about to the industry. How did we get there? Because I find that very interesting.
Well, when we started with COVID, it's kind of funny you said that. I didn't even think about it until you brought it up, but it did force a lot of our team. We're really lucky. We have a lot of people that have been with us for a long time. I mean, we have people on our team, on my team, that have been here like 16, 17 years with the company. We have a lot of higher tenure people. But even myself, even though I really kind of pride myself on trying to keep up with technology and what's going on, that's kind of my job. It's you kind of get into a daily grind, like you said, right? You become who you are. You're kind of stationary in that. And this really kind of pushed a lot of us to like I said, put more tools in our tool belt, right? So we started using the Vidyard and doing the recordings with our email so we could have that more interaction with people that we weren't able to get anymore. We started using really a lot of video into our emails and into our marketing and stuff like that, really started implementing that, doing a lot more of the Zoom meetings. And it was kind of painful at first for some, right? Because they, like you said, Road Warrior Randy, right? They're kind of set in their ways. They do it this way. They have amazing numbers that they put up every month. So it's like kind of like if it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of deal. And so, but it forced them to kind of change and pivot. But I think it was good because it let us see, myself and Mike and Stacy, who's the VP, to see what our team could really do, right? When they were putting on the gun, what could we do? What could we adjust? How could we stretch our team and grow and continue to adapt and be versatile in the market? And then I think, and I'll let Mike get on to the Crazy Mike thing, because that's him, but because it's really turned out to be amazing. I think we've started just doing the videos. Stacy's been really, really big into social media. I think you see a lot of her stuff. She's very consistent with it, with LinkedIn and Instagram. We've just seen how much business we can drive just from really being a real force to be reckoned with in social media. And Stacy's really kind of led the charge in that. And then it came up with Mike to do a Crazy Mike video. I think he came up with an idea, and it's just exploded beyond what we thought it was going to be. And so,
yeah, my brother actually does the marketing for us, and we actually have a full-time videographer on payroll, which was helping redo all the websites, because as we talked in the beginning, everybody was getting away from SEs and SEOs, and we had basically go to more video drive, more video demand, building up the website. And a lot of the Crazy Mike videos, it was just Stacy doing her LinkedIn thing, and a truck pulled up and she said, "Babe, get in front of there. Let's just do a quick video." And I'm always, from Southern California, and I don't know, Cal Worthington and his dog Spot, selling their used car, going down there, telling that. So Crazy Mike kind of derived from Cal Worthington, and that's basically, hey, we got coil, we got this, and it's just a fun thing to do. And it seems like every time we do a video now, I'm Crazy Mike.
I love it. Well, it is great. You pull it off very, very well. It's the persona of Crazy Mike is perfect. It's not over the top stupid, right? It's not like the guy the mattress warehouse, right? Or the
mattress Mac.
Yeah. But yet it's still funny and entertaining, and I think that's especially, and that's the one thing that I've learned, is that, talking about the fact that we've been doing this forever, is we're going after an audience maybe that's in, the decision makers might tend to be more in our age bracket maybe, but tomorrow's decision makers like the stuff they like. Yeah. And we better go where the audience is, right? And that's what you're doing with that, is you're going to that younger audience that maybe, I'm not saying it's TikTokish, but more of the Instagram, TikTokish, if you will, that type of because that's where they are. And you don't even need to, I've talked to people that say, I don't want to ever do that. I don't like it. You don't even need to like it, but you probably better go where your customer is, because what I don't want to do is wake up one day 5 years from now doing the same old thing and finding out that, but geez, in that 5 year period while I'm not watching, all the decision makers that are now 22 or now 27 or 29, they're sitting in a race shoes somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Making the decisions, and they don't even know who I am because I never went where they were. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you can't get stagnant. You always have to adapt, move on, always see, always be looking for what the next thing that you have to do. If you just kind of, say this is how it's worked for years, this is how it's going to be, well, you're not going to grow. You're not going to see, the big picture. So we try not to be stagnant. We're constantly getting ideas from our coworkers. Ray's constantly putting stuff in. My brother's putting stuff in. Stacy. And we got our daughters. We're a third generation family, so we got my father, me, and my younger daughters involved, and then hopefully her kids are involved. When I'm gone, and from there. But we try to keep, even though we're growing, we try to keep it a family company.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, and bringing in those young folks and listening, because I know that's an area that I've become better at, and it's a tough, as you get older and you've been doing it a long time, you kind of start thinking that my way is the way. And boy, sometimes you just need to work with some of these younger folks that go, what is the right way? Because I don't know that I know the right way, so tell me what it is, right? And you got to listen to that and go where they want to be. And I think you guys do a great job at that, and so hats off to that. And don't make Crazy Mike go away. We love Crazy Mike.
And hats off to Stacy. Wish she was here, but like I said, she's a big driver in this. Like I said, we bounce stuff off each other, and sometimes her way, sometimes it's my way, sometimes we're figuring it in the middle. But she's definitely a big part of Western States then, as far as making it grow.
Awesome. So the last thing I have, and then I know you guys have been very generous with your time. You kind of hit on a minute ago, so it's a great segue into the last thing I want to touch on, I think. We talk about websites, right? SEO, all that stuff, important. But you're very into social media. Wes and I are very into social media. I made a statement sometimes to people that question why I do so much social media, because they don't necessarily get it. And here's my statement, and I'd love to have your opinion on it. And if you think I'm wrong, tell me. I'm a big boy, but remember, you saw a picture of Wes. He's bigger than both of us. And he has my back. Anyway, to me, social media today is like a website was many, many years ago, where if you didn't have a website, you didn't exist. And I think, in my opinion, if you're not active in the world of social media, at least some kind of active, you're there, people see you. That's where like I said earlier, that's where all the younger people and even people my age, we go to social media now. Good or bad, doesn't matter. That's what we do, right? And so, not saying we get away from the website. You got to have the website that you drive back and forth and all the stuff that does, the Google and everything. But I know you agree, but I'm just want to hear your version on this real quick. You kind of already gave it, but man, if you're not involved in a reasonable amount in social media, you're missing out on a huge, huge, huge opportunity that sooner or later will bypass you, because all those people that are there now, it's whatever happened today. We talked about colors earlier, right? Green went to black before you realized it. Whatever's happened in social media that we're doing today that we all think we're pretty good at, if we don't stay in the game, a year from now, it's kind of like iPhones, right? You don't want to buy one for too long because the whole technology changes. Whatever we're doing today that we think's great and cool, it's going to be totally different in a year from now, right? Or 2 years from now. So it's a living thing, right? I will shut up now.
Yeah. So, and Mike may want to kind of chime in on this as well. And I'm going to kind of speak for Stacy, just because she spearheaded so much and gave a lot of the direction down to myself and to our team and stuff. And I think you'll see most of our sales team, if not all of them, are very active on social media. We try to be. That's a lot of her direction, her doing. As far as that, I guess the kind of purpose, and to kind of piggyback on what you were saying. The website is great. I think you're always, like you said, you're always going to have it, right? That's never going to go away. I just don't ever foresee that going away.
Right.
But with social media, I think there's such a high trend of people. That's where they're at, right? That's where they live at. People are at home on their phone. It doesn't matter your customer base or who you're after. They're just on some social media platform. what we've been able to do, and this is like I said once again, and I hate to keep kind of giving her kudos, but Stacy's push is with LinkedIn and Instagram, and I think we're even trying to get into TikTok now. I think we're doing some. She's kind of pushing spearhead a little bit of that, but we're able to really kind of cater to it. We're able to basically drive the business that we're wanting from it, right? With Instagram and LinkedIn, because we know who we're going after, right? We know that while we will sell to anybody or everyone, everybody's our customer. We're able to really go after specific ones. So we're able to go after those specific national accounts or those big contractors buy certain things. We're also able to see what's hot. Like you said, the greens are, right? So we're tracking everything that we're putting on social media, our views, what we're getting back, things like that. We're tracking to see what's hot. So that way, when Mike and Stacy get together and go, hey, we're thinking about doing a new panel or a new color, we can tell them this is what seems to be trending real heavy. This is what we're getting the most feedback on there, these colors, these panels. And by doing that, we've been able to land some really large, very, very large accounts off of LinkedIn. I mean, several national accounts, very big national accounts, national chains that we've landed. Stacy's landed several $100,000 jobs just off of LinkedIn. It's very successful, and that helps. Obviously, when we tell our team that that's happened, it obviously helps with those basically adapting and bringing on board in their tool belt, so to speak.
But with that too, LinkedIn, you don't just put it out there. LinkedIn is a job within a job, because you got to constantly post, repost, comment, post. It's just a never-ending circle. And if you don't do that, then nobody even watches you.
Yeah, right. You have to be very consistent with it.
Yeah,
if you notice, we're every day, multiple times a day on it, and we're
Yes.
tracking what days we do the best on, and best times and everything. So
Sure. Oh yeah, consistently engaged, right? You guys got to be engaged consistently all the time.
Yeah.
And the other thing, final thought I have on that is, what's beautiful about social media, just not instead of, but you can have a full-time webmaster, but it takes, there's some time frame, there's some lag time, right, to getting it up. And the beauty with social media is, you and I could be talking about something right now, and I could be grabbing my phone and trying to pretend I'm not, and post something that's popping up right while we're talking about it, right? It's real time. That's the thing that, and that's where we all are. Whether the younger people, obviously, 'cause that's all they know. Guys my age have adapted to the fact that I'm a real time guy now. If I can't see it right this second, I'm like, what do you mean I gotta go do this and do this? I want it right now. We've become right now. Sometimes that's not always good in everything in life, but from a marketing standpoint, that's where we are, right?
I always say we are now a microwave generation. We are. We want it right now. I was telling somebody, I was like, you go to a restaurant, you have to wait for your tea for 2 minutes, you're upset. It's like, why did it take so long to get my drink? And being on social media allows us, like you said, we're just right in front of them all the time. And then and also kind of our thing is we're trying to be the go-to people, right? We want to be the knowledge source for steel. If you're dealing with steel, we want you to think of Western States. Even if we don't sell it, we don't provide it, we don't offer it, we want you picking up the phone, talking to us, and us basically having that view in the industry that we are the go-to people when it comes to steel.
Love it. Love it. Well, guys, you've been generous, more than generous with your time. I appreciate it. Any last words, Mike or Ray, before we head out? To anybody that might want to get in touch with you, obviously the westernstatesmetalroofing.com is probably the starter spot. But any last words before we let you all go?
No, they can reach us at, like you said, our westernstatesmetalroofing.com. They can email us at sales@westernstatesmetalroofing.com. We have all the basic ones. Our phone number is 602-495-0048. So yeah, pick up the phone, call us. Like Mike always says, buy Western, and give us a shot. You will not be let down by us, our team. We'll take care of you guys.
And I'll have a new video on May 4th, or May the 4th be with you. Coming out.
Love it. Love it. All right, guys. Well, thank you very much. I truly appreciate you being on today. And, I know we had a couple of hiccups with this and that and people being sick, and I was sick, I think, one time, and we kept bouncing around, but it was important to me to bring, I wanted, like I said earlier, I wanted to bring the exposure to you guys because I love what you do. But almost even more important than that, I think the exposure to some of my customer base out there to know where some of these products are available, I think will be very helpful. So I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thanks, Randy. I appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. All right. Cheers. All right, folks, there you go. The Western States boys, Western States Metal Roofing. Now you know where to get the product, coil, panels, whatever you need. And also pay attention to their marketing. They do a great job with their marketing, and we can all learn. I like to learn from what other people are doing in the industry and out of the industry. So anyways, that is it for today. I appreciate you jumping on and watching. Reply or share, I should say, or reply, whatever you want to do. But share us out, and we will chat with you soon. And remember, I'm doing what I do, which is love it. I'm living it, loving it, and owning it. Easy for me to say. But remember, if you don't listen to anything else that Randy says, love what you do what you love. And as always, make today your best day ever. Until tomorrow. Cheers, my friends.